Welcome everyone to the EOS Community Fireside Chat for October 18th, 2023. It's a special show today, and no, the reason is not because I'm back from a 4-week break. It's because after an amazing run, today is the last EOS Community Fireside Chat. But don't be discouraged. We'll be producing a monthly version of the show that's going to be even more engaging. All right, let's get back to today's business. We've got a strong show lined up today. Includes 5 solid topics backed up by 7 special guests. We'll be talking with EOS. We'll be talking about the EOS EVM version 0.6 launch with Steven Diesel. Then we've got Greymass CEO and CTO Aaron Cox sharing the news about Unicove's live EVM bridge. And then we've got a few guests actually joining us today to talk about the Leap 5 hard fork delay. We've got the ENF Director of Engineering, Areg. We've got ENF Director of Communications, Zach Gall, and as well, lead developer for EOS, Matthias, joining us today on the show to talk about that. And then we'll be heading over to some community activities updates with Liam, talking about the Fireside, talking about some other initiatives. And then, of course, today, Pomelo Season 7 finale, last day for donations today. We've got Andrew, Pomelo product owner, also your stand-in host for the last few weeks, joining us today for that. And then, of course, wrapping up the show, off-topic banter, community open mic, all of that good stuff. Maybe you guys can share one of your favorite moments from the weekly EOS Fireside show, as today is the last time that we'll be doing this version of the show. But like I said, there's going to be a monthly version of the show, and it's going to be even better than before. Or at least that's the plan. We'll see. Find out what happens in a couple weeks. All right. So thanks for joining, everyone, whether you're on Discord, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're following. Smash the like button, click the subscribe button, and of course, if you're joining us live on Discord, we love it when you participate in the show, whether that's in a text chat or joining us on the voice stage, leaving some images, emojis, using the soundboard if you've got access to it. We love it. All right, and then finally, Pop Token giveaway. That's still going on. Not too sure exactly what that's going to look like in the future with the monthly cadence for the show, but we'll figure that out over the next couple of weeks and update you guys then. For now, you can keep accumulating your Pop Tokens during the Fireside. There's also other community shows where you can accumulate some Pop Tokens, mint a raffle ticket. The October raffle drawing will still happen on the first Wednesday of November, even though there's likely not going to be a Fireside on that date. We're still going to stick to the regular schedule for our prize distributions. Make sure everyone has their chance to mint their raffle ticket. All right, that's it for little updates for today. Let's jump into the show and our first topic. EOS EVM version 0.6 is now live on Mainnet. This is great stuff. Let's give a round of applause to everyone that made this possible. Here, let me share a link to the article here in the chat. And yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna, invite Steven Diesel to join me on stage here, and he can say hi to the community, explain to us a bit about the features included in this release, and yeah, anything else, Steven, that you feel is important to share. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on. So yes, as of Monday, we've officially released EOS EVM v0.6.0. The biggest and most noteworthy bit that is a new functionality or capability here is the introduction of USDT support. So EOS native USDT can now be bridged over to EOS EVM to follow the ERC20 standard, to enable a ton of new different opportunities, most notably a lot of DeFi ecosystem opportunities, as stablecoins are critical for support of much of that functionality. What comes along with that is that it's supported by the functionality of the call, action, and bridge messages, which we're of course using now to bridge USDT back and forth, but in the future, we're hoping to explore ways in which we can broaden the access and use of these for introducing additional tokens, but also other types of use cases that we're hopeful for to developers to explore in time. The other big update around this is just for those who are paying attention to our repos and stuff, is just that with this release, there's been a rearrangement of how all of the components are managed. So historically, it's been managed inside of a repo called EOS EVM that's now been dedicated to being management of the EOS EVM contract, whereas we now have repos specifically for the node, as well as the introduction of the bridge contracts that are supportive of this functionality I've just alluded to. That's really the big meat of what we've got going on, and already seeing some activity bridging tokens over at this time. And I think that over the next period of time, we'll see increased activity with some of the DeFi protocols already deployed in some of the various initiatives that they'll be kicking off now that this capability is now available.
Very cool. I'm personally excited for this capability. I used to use Bitfinex to convert USDT from EOS to other chains. It was pretty easy on that platform, but Canadians are now not allowed to use that platform anymore. So I've actually been waiting for something like this to be available for me to be able to onboard and offboard USDT. So I'm just wondering if you know of bridges that allow me to bridge from from EOS EVM to another, either Ethereum or another EVM. Is that already possible for the USDT token?
No, that's not what the functionality is that we've introduced. So the thing that I'll drive home here in terms of what's going on, the implementation of the EOS EVM is, of course, just basically a virtualized network running on top of EOS. All of the transaction data has corresponding EOS transaction hashes. And really, what that is, and what's interesting about this is that the bridging capability that we have between these two proverbial networks is truly trustless. And what that means is just that there's not any third party bridging solution that is a dependent piece of that series of events to perform that bridging action. That is to say, if you trust using EOS and how state moves forward there, there's no additional trust you need to take on by utilizing these functions, which in my belief, is uniquely different and very exciting about what we have going on. But when it comes to bridging to external networks of any kind, my belief is that any of those situations that have been implemented to date do require some sort of middleman or third-party solution to perform that capability. So this is not the same thing as bridging out to an external network. It is bridging between the two that are both effectively running on EOS, if that makes sense. I might invite somebody like Areg if there's any further clarifications in case I botched that explanation at all. But at a high level, I think that's a good gist of things.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I understood that, we're talking about the trustless bridge between EOS native and EOS EVM, but I was just curious to know if this kind of unlocked that final step that was missing for us to be able to transfer USDT from EOS native to another chain. I understand we might need to use a trusted third party when we go external, but basically, I don't think that was possible before, to get the USDT from the EOS native side to another chain, going through these bridges without having to go through a centralized exchange. So that was my question.
Gotcha.
Kind of going, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what could be said of that is that at least for how many bridging solutions have been designed to date, it may be easier for them to adopt bridging between like whatever their EVM network may be and EOS EVM, just in terms of the standards involved there and the complexity of like the information exchange required to accomplish that. So I think that yes, that likely makes it easier. However, I'm not presently aware of any bridging solutions that exist today that are doing just that. That's not to say that they might not be coming, though.
Right on. Right on. Anyone else have any questions or some feedbacks, or maybe if someone has already used the bridge, we'd love to hear about your experience so far.
I have a quick question. This is Drew. You mentioned bridge messages kind of opening up new opportunities for developers. Are those things like a kind of allowing communication of arbitrary messages between EOS native and EOS EVM as opposed to just kind of token transfers?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So yes, that is something that will be explored in time. However, this is something that is on an extended timeline, just in that there are a couple of complexities before we simply open it up to everyone. There are some aspects related to resource abuse risks, as well as a few other details that we're working through at this time. But some other things that we're exploring in parallel as we try to open up those doors is really trying to make the call action kind of being that other direction more accessible and easy to understand and use for developers, because we believe already that at least being able to operate from one side to the other could have some unique benefits that don't really exist anywhere else just yet. So that's kind of where we're headed right now. But this is likely something that is a couple of months away at a broader scale, and we're working on developing some clearer criteria by which we actually may start to open up to additional entities. But that's not something that has taken place yet, and we've not defined an explicit criteria yet by which we would more or less kind of whitelist or create an allow list for this sort of thing to happen.
Cool. Thanks.
Of course.
Steph, what was that question prior to the last one about the bridging to external chains?
I was just wondering if there's a way to get USDT from, for example, Ethereum onto EOS native through using on-chain bridges, all the way to the EOS native side. Now that this feature is available.
So Stephen, it just came back online today because it wasn't working. It was suspended yesterday. Meson.fi. So that is the route that I would recommend. So it's connected to Ethereum, Arbitrum, Tron, Polygon, like 20 other blockchains, and it's basically stablecoin to stablecoin swaps with very minimal swap fees. So you could essentially, it's two ways. So if you have DAI, USDC, or USDT on any of the 28 chains that are supported, you can swap up to, I believe, $100,000 at a time from those chains into USDT, the native USDT, on the EOS EVM. And the other utility that Meson.fi brings is also in the other direction. So let's say that you hold USDT in some kind of DeFi protocol, or just holding it in your wallet on the EOS EVM, but then you decide that you want to cash out, and the exchange that you use is Coinbase. Coinbase only supports Tether from the Ethereum blockchain. They don't even support Tron or the other chains. So you could also use the bridge to make a cross-chain swap in the other direction. So say I want to send $100 to Coinbase, and Coinbase only accepts Ethereum Tether. I could use Meson.fi to basically swap 100 USDT from the EOS EVM to the ERC20 version on Ethereum, and at the same time deposit it to my public key that's associated with my Coinbase account. So that it just came back online today, so it was kind of suspended for a while because of the multi-chain version of USDT. But now it is back online using the official USDT supported version for EOS native on EOS EVM, and it's now online. And they should be putting out some kind of public announcement on this within the next day or two. as part of this promotion. I forget what they call it, but it's a gas incentive. So hypothetically, let's say that you are a Polygon DeFi user and you hold a bunch of DAI on Polygon. You've never used EOS EVM before. You don't have an EOS native account. You don't have any EOS for gas on the EOS EVM. What will happen is you swap your DAI for USDT on native, and at the same time, your account will be credited with a small amount of EOS tokens on the EOS EVM to be used for gas, so that it could power your next transaction, which could be a transfer to another wallet or a deposit into a liquidity pool for a DeFi protocol, or any number of things that you may want to do with a blockchain. And that's a really nice feature because obviously it removes one of the barriers to using the blockchain. Because the alternative to that, assuming that you only held stable coins, is that you would have to somehow buy EOS from a centralized exchange and then withdraw it to the EOS EVM, which obviously would be quite a headache. So the fact that MiSonFi is handling this gas on behalf of the end user, and the fees are minimal, so you're paying a fraction of a penny for every transaction. That is already live right now, but the announcement should be out very soon.
All right, very cool, very cool. Love to see this connectedness, making it easy for us to transfer assets around from native EVM to other chains. Very nice.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in and say big kudos to the EOS EVM engineering team for all the heroics and getting this over the finish line. I'm the product guy, so I really live in the product in the problem space. But in terms of these solutions, these are unique things that haven't really been introduced before. So I mean, this is new territory, and again, hopefully identifying a few new differentiated bits that we can offer to any community that's interested in engaging and experimenting with the solutions that we've delivered to date. With that, if you do find yourself in the problem space and running into issues, feel free to shoot me a message, give me feedback directly, and we'll make sure to try and process that and ensure that we're continuing to make improvements to serve this community.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Stephen, for joining us and giving us this extra commentary on EOS EVM version 0.6.0. All right, moving on to our next topic of the day, which is something, to be honest, that I'm not fully caught up on. I've been away for a couple of weeks, just came back today, basically, but Leap 5.0 hard fork has been delayed. So at this time, I'd like to invite Zach on to the stage with me here. Zach, maybe you can give us a bit of context on this delay. And if the community has questions, they can jump in. Also, I know Matthias, lead developer of Zeos, is also interested in talking about this topic. And I know he's on the call as well. So maybe we can start with you, Zach, and then go from there.
Sure. So, I mean, there's definitely technical considerations, which I'm sure Oleg or someone else on the call could adhere to. But from my standpoint, I could speak to the coordination efforts required for a hard fork. So anytime that the network hard fork, so EOS has done two in its entire history. It did one, obviously, last year with EOS Independence Day, and then it did one in 2019 when upgrading to EOS IO 1.8. And in both cases, there were what was seen at the time as major reasons to make the upgrade. So in 2019, there was this idea of, I forget the specifics of it, but there was something that was required for voice. And at the time, the network believed that it would be deployed on the EOS blockchain. So there was a sense of urgency to get it done. And then obviously last year, when we had the EOS Independence Day, the hard fork to Leap, the sense of urgency was to become an independent blockchain with its recognized code base. Because whenever any network does a hard fork, it's the highest possible level of consensus that can be reached. It's 100% of every single node operator essentially is agreeing to whatever software is being upgraded to. Because it goes beyond even block producers. It goes to node operators who might not even run a BP. So exchange operators, for example, every single centralized exchange operates, for the most part, a full EOS node if they support the EOS token. Whether or not they're a registered block producer doesn't really matter. Everyone that is currently supporting EOS with an exchange listing is, like, going back to last year, they're running the current software. So that's the software from the last hard fork. So to coordinate that, it's not just coordinating the BPs, it's coordinating hundreds, literally hundreds, because of how many exchanges actually support EOS, on top of wallets and APIs and the block producers also. So to coordinate all of them requires a serious investment in time and effort from both the organizing party. So in this case, it would be me, essentially, or the ENF. And then on the other side is the resources, time, and efforts on the node operator side. So there's hundreds of node operators, whether they're BPs or not. And each one of those has an internal cost to review the code, to test the code, to walk through the upgrade instructions, to be running essentially both versions of the software at the same time until the hard fork sometimes, where you're still running the current version, but you need to upgrade to the new version at a specific time. So that level of coordination has a cost. It's kind of like a hidden cost. I couldn't give an exact number of how many hours of engineering time, for example, it would require from every single node operator. But collectively, we're talking hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million in time and expenses related to running a hard fork, and that's just external costs accepted by the node operators themselves. So that's one consideration. The other consideration is time. So historically, there's been about 3 or 4 months of planning and coordination and communications leading up to a hard fork. So if we were to begin that process now, we would be running through the Christmas holiday for the Christian parts of the world, and then basically that then bumps into the Chinese New Year in early February, which everything shuts down there too. So it's just very non-ideal timing for it all. Even if we wanted to push forward with committing to a hard fork, so there's the costs involved by all of the node operators, and then there's the timing of it, of doing all of this through the Christmas holiday and then the Chinese New Year holiday. And then on top of that, the other factor that kind of played into this was we do have a hard fork planned for instant finality and hot stuff consensus, and we are targeting to be RC1 running on test nets by late spring. So that means we would be by that point already gearing up for another hard fork, which would probably come late Q3, early Q4, late Q2, early Q3. And in that case, if we were to commit to doing a hard fork based on timing and to get around both Christian holidays and Chinese New Year holidays, we would pretty much be doing the hard fork around the same time we're ramping up coordination and communications for the next hard fork. And they would both be happening within, let's say, 6 months of each other. And it just wasn't really a viable option, in my belief, from a business standpoint. And that was kind of agreed upon during the last block producer call, which we hold monthly. The news was shared with everyone about the delay on instant finality and the reasons why. And then on top of that, all of the features of Leap 5 were communicated. And it was brought up that we will not be suggesting a hard fork in December, as was previously communicated. And nobody out of the top 30 block producers that were on the call, and it wasn't all of the 30, but none of the block producers who make the decisions on the network spoke up in disagreement. And the general belief is that the BLS hosting functions, while a nice feature, are not. It's not impactful enough to take on all of the things I mentioned before. The man hours, the time, the coordination, the resources involved. It's just it isn't. It doesn't meet the threshold in the same way that instant finality will. And it could also potentially, and this wasn't brought up there, but I'm saying it now, is it could potentially delay instant finality if there's not an appetite to do another hard fork so close to a previous hard fork. So those are kind of like the, I guess, non-technical reasons that I can speak to. Someone else could probably speak up more on the time and efforts involved with implementing on the software side or the infrastructure side. And the other thing that weighed into this suggestion of not committing to a hard fork is that the jungle testnet can activate this feature. Any application that would like to build on top of this feature, it most likely needs to go through a testnet phase. So whether that's 1 month, 2 months, however long it's required to go through public network testing on a formal testnet, it'll still need to do that. So that kind of adds more lag time. So the general idea is that by the time an application would deploy to Jungle Testnet with BLS hosting functions on, go through a testing period, if they even have an application. So there's probably other applications that could be built in the future that haven't even started yet. So if they start building upon the activation, then it'll be a long time before they're finished building, go through their testing phase, and then deploy to mainnet. So that period of time, that period of anticipated time, by the time all of that work was complete, it should be around the same time or even later. Then we would most likely be doing the hard fork that would include instant finality to upgrade to Leap 6. And I'll stop there. I think I covered all of the bases, but happy to take more questions. And also, I believe Areg had limited time, so maybe it might be best to let him speak on the technical side.
You covered it really well, Zach. I don't think the thing I kind of wanted to clarify is that it's not a technical issue. It's all this other stuff that you covered very well. On the technical side, we're still in the release candidate stage, so until we have 5.00 stable, technically the feature is not yet ready, although we think it's ready. There's other things to test with Leap 5. Once that's ready and that's stable, that's the earliest that a network out there could start the process of getting their nodes in the network to upgrade, whether this is a test net or this is some other antelope chain. That's the technical side. The reason why we're not why the NF saying that we don't see a hard fork happening on EOS to activate BLS is because of or anytime soon. Is because of all the things that Zach clarified.
And just to be clear, the ENF, we're making a suggestion that we don't believe, for the reasons I mentioned, we are not suggesting for the network to do a hard fork. If the block producers who control the network wanted to activate it and commit to a hard fork, they could. Even outside of our suggestion, if they showcased the appetite to commit to a hard fork, then the network could still do it. It would just kind of go against the suggestion. This is just a suggestion. And as I mentioned, it was brought up on the last block producer call. and I'm sure it'll be brought up again. And there was no pushback. There was no appetite shown for anyone on that call. There's no appetite to do a hard fork during whatever time frame this would fall under, because like Arik said, we're still not even at the production release yet.
All right, thanks for the explanation, guys. Clears things up on my side. At this point, I guess let's invite Matthias on to join us on stage. Matthias, are you around?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And
Hey, yeah.
apologies. You invited me so often already. I never really felt so comfortable to come on because I was always still in a very early stage of the whole thing, and didn't feel so comfortable about talking things that might be at some point. So I really wanted to reach a certain state of development first before I share all these ideas to the broader community.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. No worries. I'm still out there trying to get guests to come on, even if the ideas may not be final. I don't really care. I just like to have more guests on here. So maybe introduce yourself a bit to the community. It's your first time on the Fireside, and then I'd love to hear what you have to say about this topic.
Right. I'm Matthias. I'm the main developer of EOS, which is a privacy protocol, or actually a complete privacy solution for Antelope blockchains. And are you asking me to speak to the BLS stuff or about EOS?
Yeah, maybe just give a quick introduction to the EOS project, whatever you feel like sharing, and then touch upon the BLS situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to the BLS situation, maybe real quick. So everything I heard sounds perfectly reasonable for me. I mean, or maybe I start with EOS. So because EOS depends on these new BLS crypto primitives, and what it is as I said, pretty much a complete privacy solution, which means that I'm sure that most of the people are familiar that on pretty much all of these blockchains out there, they completely lack of privacy. Once your transactions are linked to your identity, anyone can pretty much look up your entire transaction history until the end of time, which is a complete nightmare from a privacy point of view. And in order for crypto or blockchain, to be taken seriously at some point, this whole privacy thing needs to be solved. There's no question about it. And so people might know about so-called privacy coins like Monero or Zcash. And those are cryptocurrencies that attempt to solve exactly that problem. So for example, you can, if you have a wallet on Zcash or Monero, you can send funds, which is the native cryptocurrency in case of those blockchains, privately from wallet to wallet or peer to peer, basically. However, on these blockchains, you don't have anything else. So there are no tokens, there are no NFTs, you don't have applications. Now, on the other side, on smart contracts blockchains like Antelope chains or Ethereum, you obviously have all kinds of applications, all kinds of tokens and NFTs, but you don't really have privacy there, right? So you're always fully exposed. And so EOS solves this. It is pretty much, it uses the same technology that Zcash is based on, which is zero knowledge tech. And but EOS goes way beyond Zcash, which is also really just an app that enables users to send funds peer to peer. But with EOS, you will be able to not only do private peer-to-peer transactions, but also private peer-to-contract transactions. So you will be able to transact privately with any application on the same underlying blockchain. In this case, EOS, for instance, right? So I'm going to demonstrate that. We're very close. I built a decentralized exchange for that, which will have a private trading interface. So you can use it like with your EOS account, which is then, of course, fully transparent again. But you will also be able to use it with Zeos private wallets. And what is a Zeos private wallet? So you can think of Zeos really as its own cryptocurrency, but it's not built on its own blockchain, but it's built on EOS as a general purpose blockchain. But a Zeos wallet pretty much looks the exact same way as a legacy cryptocurrency wallet. So you have your private key and you can derive multiple payment addresses from this key. And but then, and that's the cool thing, you can pretty much hold, or you can move any asset that you can hold in your EOS account. You can move that into a Zeos wallet as well and hold it there. And that pretty much gives you full privacy. And then you can, of course, also transact among these Zeos wallets, like with any other legacy cryptocurrency. But you can also interact with smart contract applications. And in addition to that, and that's the purpose of the token, it also completely abstracts away the whole EOS resource model. So instead of having to pay for private transactions with an EOS account, you actually don't need an EOS account anymore at all. You can just, you will use your Zeos wallet in the exact same way that you would use a traditional legacy cryptocurrency wallet, and you pay instead of paying for CPU and net and so on through PowerUp, you would just pay a small transaction fee denominated in Zeos. This is very similar to how it works on Ethereum. I'm sure that probably a lot of people here are familiar with that, with MetaMask on Ethereum. So when you transact on Ethereum, you always need to have a little bit of Ether in your MetaMask wallet, right, to pay for the gas. And this is going to be the exact same user experience with Zeos. So you always need to have a little bit of Zeos in your wallet to pay for the transactions. And then, you can pretty much do all the things that you can do on EOS with your EOS account, but using the Zeos wallet without having to deal with the friction that EOS accounts introduce, and also on top of that in full privacy, basically.
All right, thank you for that overview of the Zeos project. And now, how is the status of your project impacted by this latest news regarding the BLS crypto primitives?
Right. A lot of people are excited. I'm working on this for quite a while. It took me actually 3 iterations of the protocol to get to that point now. The first 2 iterations, they were dependent on the dApp network because, the application itself is, very computationally intensive because of all the cryptography that is involved. And EOS is a very strict environment, you could say, or you're very constrained because you have this 30 milliseconds transaction execution limit. So this fast block production EOS, it introduces a lot of challenges if you need a lot of computing time. And there was no other way for me to basically build this without offloading a lot of the heavy computation off chain. But with the with the new crypto primitives that are part of this instant finality upgrade. This is now, thanks to the good performance there, it's now possible to build all of this on chain, and then also in such a way that it is like super scalable. And yeah, so I know a lot of people are waiting for this to go live, and it is already live on not on the mainnet, but on the UX public testnet. You can already try it out. There's no graphical user interface yet. There's just a command line interface for all this, but the protocol itself works, and you can try it there. And in order to deploy it on the EOS mainnet, obviously these primitives need to be activated first. So this is how the delay affects us now with this. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. It gives me a little bit more time, as Zach mentioned, to properly test everything. But yeah, the good thing is, as soon as this hard fork happens, and then these primitives are activated, pretty much on the same day, we will be able to deploy this thing on the mainnet, and then have it finally available for everyone to use.
All right, great. So that's good to hear that this won't necessarily stop the development or, hinder you guys too much. And it's exciting to hear of a project that's already waiting for these features, that are going to be deployed. So thanks a lot for coming on the Fireside. Finally, I guess in the end, you were right to tell me that it was too early, and then we need to see exactly how things play out, or the development to be further along. Now that we have this news, we have more clarity about the environment, and then you can come and give us some accurate and up-to-date insights on your project. So we appreciate that a lot.
Right. Yeah, things are just changing so quickly, and also during the development of the last 2 years, my roadmap was almost changing on a monthly basis. And once I say things, people quote me on that, and this is also why I went a little bit more silent over the last year and focused more on the development side of things. But yeah, things are pretty much built for the most part, and I'm super excited to also present all this. Because it all sounds so great, but a lot of people don't necessarily have a good idea how this exactly will look like in practice. And the best way to show this is if you actually have the application right for people to use. And we're almost there. And this delay now with the hard fork, it's not that big of a deal. Of course, a lot of people were disappointed because they were expecting it now in around December. But yeah, I guess it is how it is, and for me, it releases a little bit of pressure. So for me, it's not that bad actually, and it gives me more time to really, polish everything and make everything super nice.
There you go.
So,
and more opportunities for you to join us on the Fireside from time to time and give us some little updates. They don't need to be huge updates like you just did today, although we certainly appreciate those as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks, Matthias. Before you go, I don't know if there's anyone in the crowd that had any questions while Matthias is here. Definitely now would be the time. Just speak up on stage here or write your question in the chat.
This is Drew. I have a quick question, and I don't know if there's a clear answer to this, but I've heard some criticism of Zcash, for example, because it is an ecosystem that is sort of both private and public. So this is sort of an argument for Monero, for example. If you're on a completely private network versus a kind of combo public-private, it's much more difficult to trace payments and that kind of thing. I'm just curious if you've thought about that at all, or if there's kind of a similar situation with Zeos because it's on a public network. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm actually one of the people who criticize Zcash for exactly that. So yeah, the big difference, I mean, other than the cryptography that is used for obfuscation, the big difference between Monero and Zcash is that on Monero, you have pretty much everything is private by default, whereas on Zcash, it's optional if you do a transaction in private or not. And the reality shows that I think it's like 97% of all Zcash transactions are actually transparent and thus traceable. So that's not the case with EOS. Everything is private by default. So the user doesn't have an option to send anything unshielded, so to say. If you want to make a transparent transaction, you would just move your assets out of your EOS wallet back into an EOS account if you have one, and then can do the transaction there. But everything that happens inside the EOS protocol is fully untraceable, and there's no optional privacy there. That answers the question.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So it's sort of like the Zeos ecosystem itself is all private. So as a result, transactions within there are not subject to the same traceability issues as on Zcash. That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Stefan, this is Perry with D News. I've got a question.
Hey, Perry, what's your question?
My question is, many of us would remember that some years back, Dan Larimer and the creators of PEOS with the letter P, PEOS, were asking for these bits of code. I forgot the name of them that allow for the encryption to be processed more efficiently. Somebody help me out with the name of that particular bit of code. What are we talking about?
I'm gonna guess crypto primitives, but I'm not 100% sure.
Primitives, yes. Yes, thank you. The primitives.
Yeah.
So those were obviously denied years ago, ultimately by the block producers. My question is, what has changed between then and now that is allowing those to be added to the protocol?
I'm not sure if I'm the right person to answer this. I'm not sure if they were denied back then. I think it was more of a communication problem back then, right? I remember that Block One even reached out to the peers guys to integrate these things, but it somehow never really happened. I mean, they also went silent. So I'm not exactly sure if that was an issue on the BP side, but maybe someone else can answer that.
They were not denied by the block producers. It was never integrated into the Node.io software to begin with because someone had to actually do that work and do that work properly. There needs to be reviews. This is a process that still needs to be figured out in terms of how community can contribute code to the main implementation, especially when we're talking about significant changes like protocol features. With BLS, it's different because we actually had a strong drive to create that for insta-finality. I mean, just to be clear, like BLS primitives were created for insta-finality, specifically for IBC. And then we realized we could do it in a different way that benefits other projects like Zeos. But that's why that work was prioritized.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything else to add to that? Any insight? Any other insight? Thank you.
I mean, I can step in from a BP perspective, and it was never put in front of us. I can only assume that whatever leadership in B1 deemed it wasn't worth allocating resources to do the development Eric was just talking about. And so it never even came down to a vote for BPs to choose to deploy this feature or not. Especially in that era, like the input BPs had into the direction of the software itself was much more limited than it is today. Like if this conversation was happening 3 years ago, well, I guess the point is this conversation wouldn't have been happening 3 years ago because we didn't have this line of communication open. The core development and the community weren't this close. So I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of returning to your premise. Both putting BPs into the question and then also just like this past situation. Um, I don't know. Um, but yeah, there's some premises that are not correct with how the question was asked, but I think that the answers that came out are ultimately aligned with what I know.
That's. I think that's. This is Aaron. That's fair, Aaron. I have to admit that I don't know enough to ask an accurate question there. So it was just kind of a general probe, and I appreciate your answer to that. That makes sense.
All right. We're going to leave it there for now. Again, Matthias, thanks for joining us. Come back soon. And Aaron, thanks for jumping in there with some relevant context from the block producer perspective. While we have you on stage, Aaron, why don't you talk to us about the Unicove EVM Bridge?
Yeah, sure. Kind of fits in nicely with that first topic about the new features of the EVM and the bridge that the ENF has deployed. What we did was last season in Pomelo, our pitch was basically that we want to bring the same bridge into Unicove. And so we have been working on that when we find time aside from Wharf. And we just finally released it, I believe, early last week, and we put up the announcement post a couple days ago, I believe. Uh, our goal really is to provide kind of that same bridge functionality that the system provides from the client perspective. The EOS Network Foundation, they have the bridge that exists on I think it's the EOS Network domain. And we wanted that same functionality to be in Unicove. So we went through and figured out both how the bridge works on the EOS side as well as the Telos side, because we really want to, like, Unicove is a product that is meant to be inclusive of all antelope chains and all antelope features. So there were some slight differences there, but we figured out how to kind of abstract it. Um, and over the course of the last couple of months, we've just been working on this new section of Unicove. We're calling it the transfer section. And the goal with this new section, with the first feature being this EVM bridging, is that we want you to be able to do transfers between any of your accounts. Like when you log into a bank account and you have a checking and savings, as an example, you can transfer money between those. It doesn't leave the bank necessarily. It's not going to someone external. It's an intra account transfer. So that's what this new section is, and how we've designed it is that you can log into any of your accounts, and in this case, it would be, you'd use Anchor or soon any other Antelope wallet. And then you'd log in with something like MetaMask, and we know who you are on both ends of that equation, and we let you transfer between your accounts. So that's the premise of this new section. The bridge between EVM and native for both EOS and Telos is now active. The interface we tried to make as simple as possible, as simple as you'd expect out of your bank account when you're like saying, I want to go from checking to savings. It's the same on Unicove where you're saying, I want to go from EVM to native. And then you just type in an amount and it will perform the appropriate transaction to move your tokens between your accounts. This first release is out now. It's live on unicove.com. And we're planning on expanding this over time because there are other ways in which you can transfer tokens between your accounts and like the different buckets in your account. There was a conversation on Twitter, I believe, about this not too long ago, or X, or whatever you want to call it these days. And some of the other candidates for this section are IBC, because, on Unicove, you could be logged in with an EOS account and a Wax account. Well, you should be able to use IBC to transfer between those two things just by typing in an amount. Selecting from a drop-down and then saying 5 tokens or whatever. And another example of that is Rex. Like, we're also going to add Rex into this section because it is an easy understand interface that you could, on one side, pick Rex, and then on the other side, pick EOS and say, I want, you type 5 and you'll withdraw 5 EOS from Rex into your native account. So this is kind of a really long way of saying we're building out this new section on the site. This EVM bridge is the first functional piece of it. It's really from a native perspective because you need to be logged in with a native account to make all of this work. But we have some fairly large plans with where we're going with it and really trying to remove the complexity for when you want to just move tokens between your accounts. That's why this is now the new transfer section. And we invite you guys to give it a try. So if you run into any issues, let us know. There shouldn't be any risk. It's going from your account to your account. So as long as you're logged in with your account, the worst thing that could happen is the transaction would fail and you'd have to try again. So yeah. Just kind of reporting in that this is now available, and we've completed another thing we pitched on Pomelo, I guess.
Good stuff, Aaron. Love to hear about Pomelo projects being completed and then updated to the community. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm playing around right now on unicove.com. Share a little screenshot here. It does look very simple interface. Looks very clean. And yeah, thanks for updating, and thanks for teasing us about the big plans that are yet to come from Greymass. Always like hearing that from you guys.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on to our next topic of the day. Let's talk a bit about some community activities updates. We've got Liam here, communications manager at the EOS Network Foundation, that's going to be joining me on stage. Liam gave some updates last week about the plans for this fireside show. So we're still kind of figuring out the details, like I hinted at the start of the show. But we're excited to kind of share more about when and where and how as soon as all of that's figured out. Liam, did you have any other updates about? There's actually lots of community activities going on these days.
Yeah,
for the EOS community.
Lots of stuff. I guess, I mean, in the immediate event updates, we haven't pushed out the announcement about this yet, but there will be a Twitter Space next Tuesday at 11 Eastern time. So keep your eyes peeled out. There should be an announcement for that coming out shortly for the next day or so. Should be pretty fun. I believe we've got Pith Network, we've got Nerve Network, and Meson. So all people who we're talking a lot about these days, and they're going to be chatting about interoperable DeFi. So that's just an aside of one exciting upcoming event that's going on. But just to bring things back around to Fireside, this is our last Fireside in this current format. However, there will still be stuff going on in this time slot, and so this is something we kind of talked about internally, and I think it might have came out a little bit out of our conversations last week, is that right now we're doing our office hours, right? And so our community office hours are a place where people in the community can connect with the ENF team or other people in the the EOS community, other contributors who want to show up for office hours and just have more of like a casual, laid-back conversation that's not like a show, right? And so it's more of a better space to do that actual community building, community engagement, make sure that if there's stuff the community wants to put on our radar and communicate to us, then there's a forum for that. So we're going to be actually still running those office hours now in this slot. So just for an hour, probably from 3 p.m. Eastern until 4 p.m. Eastern, which is, sorry, I'm going to put the UTC time for you there right now, 7 p.m. UTC to 8 p.m. UTC. There'll be office hours on Wednesday, every Wednesday, starting on the first week of November. So next week will probably still be in our usual time. But then, yeah, we'll make a switch there to utilize this slot for office hours. And there will be stuff in this slot every week, even until then. So I'll touch on that in a second. But again, just to close the loop on that little change now, office hours will really be taking taking the place of the community discussion purpose of this call, that communications intent of this event. And so we'll still have voice chats right here. So come hang out if you guys are free. And, Brandon will be here, Nathan will be here, I'll be here. And we'll have sort of a rotating, group of people coming through, and it'll be a great place for us to connect with you all. On top of that, right, what's happening to Fireside? Well, Fireside's actually going to get even better in the months ahead. We are planning to do a monthly Fireside event. It might be called Fireside. It might be called something else. I know we've got some people who are fans of the Fireside brand, so if it does change, maybe there'll be an homage to it in its name. But what is this event, in its marketing purpose, I guess, and intent, the show portion of it, where we're advertising stuff that's going on in the ecosystem, talking about the latest news, all of that stuff, will now take the format of a monthly event. And we're going to sort of trial this for a bit and see how it goes. And so that will most likely be on our YouTube channel. On YouTube, it's like a live stream, and so it'll be more of like a live, really like a variety, like talk show. We want to frame it almost like, if you're familiar with CoinDesk TV, where they bring on different sort of panels of people to talk about various topics. That's sort of the vision for where Fireside's going. But in addition to that, there'll be sort of like a Q&A section of it as well, like an AMA format where people can submit questions and we'll be able to answer them. And that will take the format of like an hour and a half sort of video live stream. So what's good about this is that sort of in breaking up these two I guess purposes of this event, right? One being communicating and engaging with the community, and the other one being marketing material about what's going on in our ecosystem. We're able to make that marketing material even more impactful and push it further up the funnel, right? So it's on a platform that has more reach, like YouTube, and so that's more shareable, stuff like that, and catered to the video audience. And so, yeah, I guess I'll rephrase, I'll reiterate that one more time. Office hours now going to be for an hour in this slot on Wednesdays. Voice discussion, no fancy show, just a place for us to come out, hang out, talk, maybe play some games, whatever we want to do. And then once a month will be our Fireside Chat as a video live stream on YouTube. And that will be an hour and a half video show. And then we'll head over to Discord for maybe 30 minutes, maybe a little longer afterwards, and still have kind of a community hangout here where we can continue the discussion in more of a casual format. So stay posted for the date of that new Fireside. We're still kind of working out logistics with people's calendars, making sure that we got all the usual cast of characters coming out. And we'll have more comms to roll out around that in the meantime. And then in addition to that, of course, right, we've rolled out a lot of other new events. There's Twitter Spaces pretty much every week. Currently, those are every Tuesday at 11 ET, which is 11 a.m. ET, which is 3 p.m. UTC. On our Twitter Spaces, there's usually a panel going on with projects from our ecosystem. And there's one last thing that I want to touch on, and that is what we'll be doing with this time slot in the next couple of weeks. So we're still going to be here. Brandon's going to be here. I'm going to be here. It won't be a show, but we're going to pop in again at that 3 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday time slot, 7 p.m. UTC. What we'd like to have is have some discussions with our community in more of a casual forum about, purpose and vision of EOS. We want to be listening to this subsect of our community about, why you love EOS, what compelled you to become a part of the ecosystem, what you find, exciting about the tech, where you think things are headed, what sort of messaging you like in stories do you think would be good for us to elevate to people from outside our ecosystem, so that we can take that internally and then use it to help draw inspiration from it for the marketing materials that and the communications materials that we'll be building out to the broader Web3 space. So we want to make sure that we're having these conversations with our community and understanding exactly what it is that they love about EOS. So yeah, it'll be kind of like a fun little like cozy around the campfire sort of kumbaya. Let's hang out and chat about some of our favorite memories or our philosophical values or the things that we really enjoy about EOS and the community here and the culture that we want to foster. So yeah, that will still be happening. Probably we'll do that at least 2 weeks. If we find that we want to have a few more weeks for those discussions because we're on a bit of a roll and we're enjoying it. Well, then we can continue that in the office hour slot each week. But yeah, next week at 3 p.m. ET, 7 p.m. UTC, come out here, bring your friends, bring your families, and let's talk vision and purpose of EOS.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for the updates, Liam. I want to touch back on the issue of the Fireside name and brand. So obviously, I like the Fireside brand. I've been hosting the show for a while now. A lot of work goes into the show from me and a lot of other people as well. I think a lot of people in the community like it as well. It's been a great success. I've enjoyed it a lot. So I've got lots of positive associations to the word fireside. But really, a fireside chat usually is a, casual discussion between two people sitting by a fire. And this show originally started, for those of you who were around, I don't know, what is it, like 2 years ago now? Where it was more of a forum for Eve to kind of share his thoughts on a lot of things. And it was more focused on Eve's thoughts and not necessarily a community-based show with lots of people interacting, lots of different guests all over the place. So I feel like, although I love the name Fireside, it's not really a fireside show, what we've got going on. And then converting it to a monthly show is going to go even further away from the traditional what a fireside usually is. Now, do I really care what everyone else thinks a fireside show is? No, not really. If we love the Fireside brand, we keep it for sure. But so having said all that, I'm curious to know what everyone thinks. If you want to jump on stage, please share your opinion. Do that. Or if you want to join in the chat, let's see a 0 if you like the current branding of the Fireside Chat, you'd like to keep that, or a 1 if you want something new that may still be kind of paying homage to the Fireside Chat brand, but maybe something new now that we're kind of switching up the show. So 0s to keep the Fireside brand, 1 to think of something new. We got a quick 0 from Zach. Ruade coming in with a 1. La coming in with a 1. Drew always with the non-valid answers of a 0.5. Patrick loves the Fireside with a 0. Liam wants new branding. La wants to see the whole world burn. Maro wants new branding. All right, love it. Thanks for participating in this little survey. Fireside chart. Damn, that's great. That's great, Lewis. All right, yeah, and if anyone want to chime in here on the voice stage, feel free to do that, or if you have any other questions, type of deal. So from what I understand, recap here, high level, next week, 3 p.m. Wednesday, there is still a community hangout right here in Discord. If you want to come hang out, talk with the guys from ENF, talk about some higher level stuff for the EOS network, that's still happening. But the next official Fireside show, still to be determined exactly when that's going to happen. That's going to happen on YouTube, probably other platforms as well, I imagine. I'm not sure. We're probably going to be streaming to other places. And then still having a community-based discussion in Discord as when we launched a new show. All right. When is the next Fireside? When Fireside Moon? All of that is happening soon, Lewis. Don't you worry.
Stefan, I'd like to add something, if I may. I think what's interesting about this show is the community involvement. And I might even suggest that has led to its popularity. So I hope that whatever shows, however this evolves and divides and or combines, that the that the, there's an opportunity for the community to express itself. I think that's the key. That we all have our Zoom meetings for our specific projects, but they're really this is a unique within our community in that anyone can get on and express themselves, and I think that's really important. That's very important. So that's my feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, totally great feedback. I agree with you that, the community involvement is really what made this fireside show successful, and community involvement, as well as our special guests, representatives from all these different projects that get to join us live on stage here and talk about their projects to the community. But like Liam pointed out, I think it was last week, a lot of these projects now have that opportunity through other venues, right? Through, like, for example, X Spaces that the ENF is hosting. And so it's not just the Fireside as the venue. There's other shows, support host shows all over the place. So, the environment has changed. And so, Fireside is changing alongside it. Kind of got lost on that answer, to be honest, Perry, but I agree with you, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how it evolves.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
I'll add to that. I'll respond to that just real quickly, Ian. The combination, I agree with you. The combination of the structured content that you've been providing, along with that openness to the community, is like it's like gas and fire. It was a great combination, and I've really appreciated this production. And
Yeah,
Thanks, Perry.
I was just going to say, if anything, we're trying to create even more welcoming environments with these community voice discussions in Discord for the community to participate even more, right? Like, so by making our Discord voice chats a little less structured, less like a show, people may feel more inclined to contribute to the conversation, and also feel less like they're maybe put on a bit of a pedestal, putting a spotlight on them. I know when I enter a new ecosystem or a new project, I usually have a lot of anxiety to jumping up on the mic and talking in front of everyone. But if we can create more of like we're all talking around a campfire rather than a fireside chat sort of energy with the conversations here in Discord, then I think we'll be elevating the community even more. And then, with the Twitter space side of things, like Steven says, there our goal is, Drew, I like Campfire Jam, exactly, break out the guitar. But with the Twitter Spaces, right, we're actually trying to take the community members and elevate them more on our higher up channels. And then the last thing I guess I'll say is that in terms of that back and forth kind of thing, we might not have the direct back and forth, or we talk about a topic on Fireside, and then we immediately, we talk about a topic for 10 minutes, and then we immediately have an open discussion in the community about that topic. That might not be the format of this new one, but what will be a format is we talk about some topics for about an hour. We do like a formal Q&A, with people submitting questions in, and then after that we go to Fireside for at least 30 minutes, if not longer. I should say, not to Fireside, to our Discord voice channel, so that we can have a discussion right away in Discord following that event as well, and I'll be here as well for that. So we definitely want to make sure that we are still including the community in these events, and if anything, trying to elevate them more throughout all of this. Yeah.
All right, maybe we need something poolside. Great suggestion, Recep. I like it a lot. All right, let's keep things going with our final topic before the open mic section and off-topic banter. Pomelo Season 7, final day for donation is going on right now. If you haven't donated yet to your favorite EOS projects, make sure to go to pomelo.io and do that right away. I think you still have a couple hours left not 100% sure. For more and rather accurate information about Pomelo, I'm going to invite Drew Joy here, our Pomelo product owner, onto the stage. Drew, if you want to say some final words here as we are on our last day of season 7 of Pomelo.
Sure, yeah. So this season of Pomelo ends October 19th at 12 o'clock UTC. So we've been communicating that this is the last day to donate because for most people it is. It may be open tomorrow for you, depending on where you are, but we've got 15 hours and 38 minutes to go. So get your donations in. We've got, let's see. I didn't label these. Looks like we've got over 51,000 EOS donated already from two more than 100 projects. And I think, actually, I have to go to the bot here. We've got, oh wow, bunch of donations rolling in. Yeah, exactly. I spammed the chat bot earlier to make sure I got all my numbers right here. So we've got the chat bot, or the Pomelo bot says 900 contributors, although I heard that's between the two rounds. So at the very least, 450 contributors, but probably more than 500 contributors is my guess. We don't have that detailed info on there. But yeah, there's lots of great grants. I could highlight a few. There's the BLS 12381, the ECC, the smart contract library. That's actually what Matthias came on to talk about earlier. That's his project. So repping that. There's EOS Eyes, which is a block explorer. EOS support. There's the Feed Your Monkey game. That one's fun. And then there's just all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, I went through the list. Actually, I've been away from the keyboard for almost a month, and so this morning that was the first thing I did to get back into the groove of things. Scrolled on pomelo.io, scrolled through a bunch of projects, donated to a bunch of projects I recognized, to a bunch of people I recognize that have been in the community for a long time. Always like supporting those longtime EOS community members, and also donating through the collections feature. I see there was a Fireside rapid fire pitch session last week. I didn't check out the show, but I did donate to all the grants that presented last week via the collections feature. So there you go. Nice. Well done. So there you go. If you haven't done that yet, go over to Pomelo, donate to your favorite grants. If you want to spam the chat here with shameless self-promotion for your grants, go ahead and do that. We usually kind of restrict that type of activity in the chat here, but since it's the final day, I think we can make an exception here. I see there's already a couple people that went ahead and did that already. All good. All right. Any other thoughts or questions from people for on the Pomelo season 7 topic? Feel free to jump on, and then if not, we're gonna head out over to the open community open mic section real soon. There you go. Matthias sharing the BLS 12 grant.
Hello, Stefan.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
How are you, Stefan?
Nice.
I'm good, Patrick. I'm good. How are you? How have you been? How have you been in the last 4 weeks here since I've been gone?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to come back for the fireside.
There you go. I'm back. I'm back before they canceled the whole thing. Jeez. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
Steph. Take a leave. Take a few weeks off. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
I come
No
back
problem.
and it's
Yeah.
boom, 75% less fireside action. Jeez.
Totally, geez, yeah. I just want to make two comments. The first comment is that I love this fireside chat because this is every week. That's not just one time per month. And I think that makes sense to meet every week, to be regular and to engage together. So this side of the fireside I love, but I understand also that we need to make the things maybe more marketing and make some structured things. So that's okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. My mic, I was thinking. Okay, so that was my first comment. And about Pomelo Season 7, I just want to say the things are going well with Pomelo Season 7. We saw a good engagement on this season. I just want to thank you, everyone, to have gave something to MindWeb. I have reached 62 donators. I am very happy with this. I will take more contact with those Pomelo grant owner for EOS Den because I will invite them to become an affiliate on EOS Den. I want also to do just after this season, Pomelo 7, the bounty. I was seeing that the bounty was tested in a night when I was wake up. I was seeing some tests on the Pomelo.io with bounty. So suddenly that was becoming play token. I was thinking, wow, I am not able to give to Pomelo grants. So there was some test with the bounty integration with Pomelo. I was seeing that in live. So I am very happy to go after Pomelo Season 7 with the bounty and to do an EOS Den bounty with Pomelo that are Pomelo user grant owner that are on Pomelo and begin this bounty. So I think Pomelo is not totally finished. I think that will be a nice comeback later on, birth of the sand for Pomelo. So I am very positive with Pomelo. I think that's a great platform. That's just the condition of the market that is not really favorable. But I'm sure for the next bull run, 2024 will be very good. And also that makes sense to push the next LEAP protocol for next year. All will be good. So very happy. And I hope, Stefan, you will be involved into the fireside chat next version.
Yes, I will be involved for sure. Thanks for that nice speech. Well said. I do have a small question. Did you say the birth into the sand of Pomelo? And is that a good or a bad thing?
I was thinking positively that Pomelo can rebirth from the sand, raise from the sand.
And that's a good thing. Raise from the sand. The Pomelo raises from the sand. Rebirth of the Pomelo. Okay, I like it. We're gonna need some generative AI image of the sand-based Pomelo rebirth.
Yeah, baby. That's deserve a yeah, baby soundboard, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Voila.
All right. Good stuff. All right.
Lovejoy, can you
Thanks,
guys?
Patrick. Hey, Lovejoy. How's it going? Yeah.
Good. I just wanted to chime in on one of.
We cannot hear you at all anymore, Lovejoy.
Lovejoy is the best of everyone. He's always you are here, Lovejoy. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the weekly office hours, kind of our effort to continue creating just a community space, and anyone can come and if you have anything you want to talk about, that's fine. You can even bring people and talk about things on the Opstars. Kind of anything goes Opstars. So that's one thing. The other thing is there's really nothing stopping anyone else in the community organizing a weekly event, as we've seen like lots of other stuff has happened over the years in that way, organic. So I just want to. I know it's kind of like lean times, bear market times, but if anyone is inspired and they feel like they can bring a unique voice or create a unique space that the community is lacking, and gather people together there and discuss whatever. Well, I'm sure various other folks from within the community, such as us at the ENF, or people in all sorts of other projects on the community, in the EOS ecosystem, would show up. So, these are just kind of shows that we feel we have the capacity, or shows or spaces that we feel we have the capacity right now to host. But by all means, if anyone feels like there's something missing that they can provide, then we have all the tools. Like the voice channel is open, so organize however and wherever you feel. That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, good point, Lovejoy. Good point, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for chiming in, Lovejoy. And are you going to be here next week?
Oh yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here on Wednesday, and then I'll be holding down office hours probably with Nathan James. I'm not sure who else on Thursday. And so yeah, for a couple weeks we're going to have back-to-back. Although the Wednesdays, as Liam indicated, are going to be kind of more community vision process and stuff like that. So that'll have kind of more of an agenda. Office hours is definitely still anything goes. So
yeah, it's good that we're not going cold turkey here on Wednesdays without our daily community meetup here. So that's still going to be present, just in another format.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff.
One thing I'll mention, thank you, Patrick, for mentioning this, is going forward, where Pomelo bounties will be releasing, and we're looking at a very, very short time frame now, like a few weeks. So that's very exciting. I'm not sure if I have anything solid to share on that, but just I know we in the Pomelo community have been talking about it for a while, and I'm excited to finally be bringing it.
Yes, that's exciting. I asked earlier today, wondering if there was any decisions or news around that. Very excited to hear that that's coming up shortly.
Yeah, I guess the website is live already, but I would not encourage people to test it. It's still in the testing phase right now, so very much there's some stuff that's not working. And I won't say what that URL is, but you can probably guess it.
Love the marketing strategy.
Thank you, Drew.
Hey, this exists, but don't use it yet. But you can find it if you want. All right, anyone else have any updates they want to share with the community? Jump on stage here.
One thing I'm kind of curious about. So I set up a Hypha DAO with a few of my friends. I'm curious if people here have been working on that, or I've been messing around with the Hypha DAO software.
Yes,
the Hypha software they call it.
Yes, I have something to share about the Hypha DAO platform. Just on the day of the launch, in my night, I was passing maybe 4 hours on the website to do all the tests that I can do, and I was falling in love with this IFA DAO platform. So I have created an EOS then DAO on IFA. I had some discussion with the IFA DAO team to have an EOS then service DAO there. So that's in discussion. And the experience with the wallet, the IFA wallet, is just smooth. That's very easy to use. Every time you do something on the website, you have just to scan a QR code with your IFA wallet. Integration with the EOS, EOS.io, EOS Mainnet. That's very well done. The IFA token, totally a utility token on IFA DAO platform. This IFA token will be soon, and soon means a couple of months, because that's the early stage. The IFA token will become something that you will be able to redeem, let's say, not use word that I don't know. The IFA token will be used to swap for EOS token, for example, if you want. So that will be possible, but not yet now. And yeah, very easy to create a DAO there. Very easy to add members into your DAO, put your having your badges. Every time you do something, you receive a badge. That's very, very cool there. And you can explore the DAOs. You can do some connection with other people. So they have a great network around the IFA DAO platform. And if you have also yourself a platform with a token or a web app with no token, I think there is a place to go on IFA. So I think if everyone goes on IFA and with his software, with his services, with his education, or with his platform, there is a chance to make a good package there, and then to make 1 + 1 = 3. Make a good collaboration, good interoperability between software. More than that, also good interoperability between the humans. So I think that was worth to wait all those years with the IFA DAO platform. And yeah, and the people are cool. I love the team there. And I think there is a good interaction for us with EOS, with the Antelope networks in general, all the chain that we have into the Antelope coalition. So IFA, great start and good continuation. But there is a lot of to do. There is a lot of to do. And yeah, I encourage the people to go on ifa.earth and create their DAO there, to onboard there.
All right. Thank you for your testimonial, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Let's reminisce a bit about these weekly fireside chats. Let's see some ones in the chat. If you were around for the 7-hour-long epic fireside show. Tuning in for any point of those 7 hours, is good enough.
I want to 7 hours today.
You want to go 7 hours today? Let's do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because that will be the last one.
Exactly. Let's break the record on our last day. Let's go out with a bang. Pop token 777. Damn, Drew, that's rare.
I know. I am always careful to make sure I don't accidentally blend it.
Yeah, if we're talking reminiscing, I would like know what talked about it. Like we really started as a small group of, I think it was like 4 or 5 people here. I think it was November 21, if I'm correct. In December, we had Bytemaster joining us for the end of year recap. And from then, like the whole year of 2022, this thing grew and grew and grew, like the community stick together, more people joining. Super amazing to see, and I really like that we are testing new ground. Let's go.
Let's go!
That duck sound is so good.
Yeah, you guys, the fireside, if we never stop, we never disconnect from the fireside, does it ever really end? You know?
Boom. Solved. Problem solved. Forever.
Yeah,
fireside.
Lovejoy, you are right, as always. After the fireside chat, you can do a fire after the fireside chat. So you can stay for 7 hours if you want.
That's right. I'm going to get a new Discord account just so I can always keep this account signed in the voice chat. This very voice chat right here, right now. Wait, when the show ends,
Yeah.
it kicks everybody out, though, doesn't it? Damn it.
No, I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
Oh, really?
People can just hang out here all day, every day if they want to. All right, final reminder to blend, register for your pop tokens, blend them for the monthly raffle. That's going to be going on. The drawing is going to be, on the 1st of November. So in 2 weeks is when we'll have our monthly raffle drawing. Of course, there's also the EOS Moments promo. There was 19 people holding the full set of EOS Moments. I was impressed. I didn't think we'd have that many full set holders when we distributed the prizes last couple of weeks ago. So if you got your full set of EOS Moments, you'll be eligible to win more prizes. That's going to be also happening in 2 weeks on November 1st. And then after that, we'll see exactly how we continue to distribute those prizes now that we'll have some monthly firesides instead of weekly ones. And let's hear some potential new names for the fireside if we're gonna rename it to something else. Let's see some suggestions in the chat. EOS Phoenix. Chat by the fire. Nice one, Ruade.
So we had a lot of news this last weeks with the end of the hot sauce, now the end of the fireside chat that will be rebirthed in something else. So seems to be that we have a lot of news for the end of this year coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably a mix between the current Fireside Chat and what the Hot Sauce used to be, where the Hot Sauce was kind of just a news show where I'd run through a bunch of news fairly quickly, showing on my screen share, going through the news. Probably have a bit of all of those elements in the new show.
Totally, that's spicy.
Spicy sauce.
Spicy life, Liam.
Maybe we just keep it the EOS Fireside because that's just what it is and there's no way around it.
But the only constant is change.
All right. Is that it, everyone? We're going to wrap it up?
No, please, no. Stay with us.
All right. Let's wrap this up. For the last time, for the weekly EOS community chat. Thanks for joining. Hope you've enjoyed these shows. We'll be back at you in a couple weeks with a brand new show with more engaging content, lots of interaction, and yeah, so that's it. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was fun coming back to host the Fireside. Until in a couple weeks, let's go.
Elephants on stampede.
Yeah, baby, go EOS, quack, 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 go EOS, quack, 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 go EOS, quack, 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 go EOS.